Hello everyone, I'm Farzan Ismail. It's a grateful opportunity today to share my insights with you all about the comparative analysis of human resources management practices. As an introduction, international human resources management refers to planning, development, and coordination of human resources practice in organizations across national borders. Unlike domestic HRM, IHRM must navigate a complex web of culture, legal, economic, and institutional difference between countries. As the globalization expands business operation, companies increasingly face the challenge of managing diverse international workforce, each with its own values, expectations, and labor environment. IHRM involves key functions such as global talent acquisition, expatriate management, cross-cultural training, performance appraisal, and international compensation design. Globally, today's business management is more interrelated than ever, and this fact has reformed the way companies manage their employees. In the next few minutes, I am going to explain international human resources management and its strategic coordination and HR best practices across four different countries, which are Australia, England, China, and UAE, along with how organizations adapt to all the differences. In Australia, a conventional leadership style is a human relation module that emphasizing trust, collaboration, and employee happiness. Employee wellness program, inclusive hiring, and supporting innovation as considered as the best HR practices. Australians are strongly focusing on the coaching leadership style and supporting diversity across gender and culture with low power distance and individualistic value. The companies are implementing perspective management style. In this chart, we can see long-term upward trend for the other nationalities born in Australia, reflecting sustainable migration and diverse culture over past 50 years. One of the key HR challenges highlighted in the compensation is the compensation gap between rural and urban, while short-term and long-term expatriation is common. Industry-based unions are active, while businesses strongly support hybrid and flexible jobs. The most common business challenge addressed in Australia is attracting skilled talent and managing aging workforce. Here, we clearly see the gap between number of applicants per vacancy versus qualified, suitable, and the fill rate, which shows over 30% lack of talents for each vacancy. At the same time, research has shown that manufacturing sector is suffering from aging workforce, which reaches 42%, and that's a bit high percentage. In England, bureaucratic organizational behavior dominated with the flexibility. Companies practicing legal compliance, competency-based hiring, and diversity policies, organized recruitment, regulatory benefits, and strong performance evaluation are from best HR practices. England supports expats in both private and governmental sector. They have individualistic culture dimension with moderate power distance along with the strategic and perspective management style. The key HR challenge is dealing with the cross-cultural teams at post-Brexit period. In England, companies are excelling inclusion and diversity in parallel, challenging some regulatory uncertainties and employee mobility. In this chart, we will explain the top challenges faced by the HR decision makers in organizations in 2024. Based on the survey, major concerns defined as rating top talent took first place by 51%, followed by financial package expected, work-life balance, supporting employmental health at work by 46%. In China, the dominant style is autocratic and collectivist with top-down authority system. Organizational behavior stresses harmony, loyalty, and internal promotion. Recruitment often involves exams or referrals with rigid appraisal and stable basic benefits. Internationalization remains centralized with limited progress in diversity integration. High power distance following a tactical directive approach management style. Expatriation in China is typically long-term and very selective. One of the key HR challenges is age difference between employees within the same organization in China. And the labor workforce in China is managed by the ICFTU union. Hybrid work is limited, and companies mostly adopt to locals, which means Chinese are not diverse culture. Regulatory barriers are listed as common business challenges. And this map presents a visual breakdown of expats distribution across various provinces in China. A total of 600,000 expats living in China, making up just 0.04% of national population, emphasizing their small demographic presence relative to the vast China's population. In UAE, practicing the relational authoritative module in diverse environment. Emiratization program, expat onboarding, and diverse staffing are best HR practices, while human resources management is highly KPI driven and offering tax-free package. UAE depends on the expat leadership while balancing national workforce is developing. Giving an example of Dubai in this pie chart, that approximately 92% of the workforce is occupied by the expats, while below 8% is localized. Then expats in UAE are short-term preferred or project-based jobs. The culture is collectivist with a very high power distance and implementing directive management style. HR in UAE suffers with the compensation package between locals and expats, managing diversity and talent retaining. Unlike other countries, in UAE, Human Resources Ministry is handling labor workforce. Remote work is developing, while flexibility and inclusion is growing but not yet mature enough. The primary challenge is high turnover rate of expats and government pressures for localization. This table summarizes differences in organizational module, HRM practices, and cultural dimensions across those four countries. It shows that recruitment methods, leadership approach, and union structure are vary significantly between those four countries. At the same time, remote work and flexibility are widely supported in Australia and England, however, remains limited in China and still adapting to the business in UAE. Australia and England operate with individualistic strategic module, whereas China and UAE leans toward collectivist directive management style. In both Australia and England, classified as indulgence countries, while China and UAE are restrained societies. This variation shows that international human resources management strategies must be context-specific, adapting to cultural, legal, and workforce realities rather than implementing uniform system within different organizations, which means no HRM style are fit to any countries or any organizations. As we conclude, it's clear that international human resources management must reflect the local context. Each region brings unique organizational behavior, economic needs, legal barriers, and cultural expectations. As mentioned previously, there is no specific HR module that fits all. Rather, companies must develop flexible, supportive, culturally intelligent strategies that encourage local teams while staying globally aligned. In Australia, flexibility and inclusion defines HR effectiveness, while in England, compliance and diversity are key. In China, Control and tradition dominate, while in the UAE diversity and nationalization are the focus. Thus, it's essential for all of us to understand all the differences to accommodate an international human resources management. Looking ahead for the three main trends that will define the future of international human resources management globally. First, introduction of AI and automation that supports recruitment, performance appraisal, and workforce planning. Second, global mobility and hybrid work module will become mandatory for some businesses, making digital tools and flexible contracts critical. Third, there will be a growing demand of ethical leadership, sustainability, and inclusive workplace that respects cross-cultural values. Ultimately, international human resources management is not just about managing people, it's about building resilient, adaptive, and inclusive organizations that can thrive in constantly evolving global environment. Here I have provided the Harvard module references for further information research. And thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And I hope in past few minutes I could target the main differences in terms of organizational behavior, human resource management practice, and cultural dimension between those forementioned countries. And I really appreciate your feedback on the presentation content. Like it and leave a comment below. Thank you so much.